Hey guys, and welcome to Hamburg. Don and I are here to see the brand new Audi A1, and we had a little bit of an interesting tour today.
Yeah, because Audi started to do it, normally you have these boring test drives, you get a car and then you drive through a beautiful landscape and get something to eat, go back to the hotel. This time we arrived here by train, that's the first thing, and the second thing is we got the car, but we have to make a tour through Hamburg. Not to see like the beautiful stuff like the Elbphilharmonie or other stuff, no. We were here to meet some startups and that was quite interesting.
And what Audi did is they kind of paired the cutting edge cool car features with different startups here in Hamburg in a sound studio that was also paired with a longboard. So it was a skate shop / sound studio. And then we learned all about acoustics, right? A very 101, this is how acoustics work, this is the shape of the studio. And then we got to talk to an Audi expert about how the sound in the car has been translated. Now, Donna's been playing a lot of Pink Floyd, a little bit of gangster rap, and we've really been testing out the system. So there was the 3D sound, and this is tuned to our sweet spots where we're sitting. Now, what did you think about 3D sound?
It works good with the live versions, and that's what
true.
I told us also. Listen to live versions of music. It's not working well. I mean, it didn't work well with the rap stuff.
Yeah, it's true. It did not sound good with the rap.
It didn't really sound well, and we have to try it out a bit more because we're here for 2 days actually. Today was a startup day, tomorrow is the driving day, and the A1 Citycarver that we're driving will be tested thoroughly through us.
And so come back for that video, because this video is focused on startups and...
I mean, I find it a really good idea that, I mean, normally you have these kind of stations where you go and then some expert is saying that this is our new sound system, it sounds very, very good. And you say, oh yeah, that's a new sound system, sounds very, very good. But what they did here is combine it with the startups, and I mean, we are always talking about how is the automotive industry connected through startups. We know in the US it's a big deal because automotive companies are buying into startups since a couple of years, especially in terms of automotive driving, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But here in Germany, Daimler is doing a lot, Audi is doing a bit, but it's more like, it's not like really well known how deeply connected the car industry is to automotive, to the startups.
It's definitely evolving, and this is one of the reasons why I actually moved to Berlin 6 months ago, was to watch how the automotive companies, very traditional ones, are creating all of these accelerators, and everyone has one in Berlin. Porsche has their massive digital studio, and of course we had what is it, Denstadt?
Ingolstadt?
No, the Audi one.
Denkwerkstatt.
Sorry, my German's not so good. Denkwerkstatt.
It's called think tank, actually, in German. Yeah.
Well, they have one as well, but that's more of an internal accelerator program. But all of the automotive industry is sort of clinging into this startup world to try to find that fast-moving pace, because, as we know, they've been one of the slower industries to evolve.
Yeah, and that's fine, interesting, because if you ask me, I mean, 4 years ago I started to be really deeply interested into like startup industry and automotive. And I had the feeling that there is a link missing a communication link missing between automotive and startup. The automotive industry knew that there was something going on. The startups industry were like, hey, we have some good ideas. When the automotive industry said, oh, we don't know. So they weren't really talking to each other. And now they do way more. So they're looking for each other, looking for cooperation, trying to work together and having joint ventures and everything. And I think that's very helpful. I mean, we were at it was quite interesting. The second startup we went to was called Rox. Yeah,
Rax?
Rax
was the product name. Squirrel was the design studio name. Yeah. And this was potentially, actually, sorry everyone else, but my favorite one out of all 4 that we went to today, so just because they made a sneaker box, right, for sneakers, and for those sneakerheads, they're looking for a place to store them. And the box is cool. And I like that they bootstrapped, right? So they did it all themselves. And now they're looking to expand into the US, and they had a good kind of back and forth between the A1 design and how they prototyped their box, because the box itself was 3,500.
Well, it was the prototype design.
The prototype design. Made in
you
Belgium.
can buy the box for like 30 or 35 euros. You check the photos out. and get in contact with them. It was really cool. If you're a sneakerhead, I think this is
I think that
one
this
thing
is
you want to
the
have.
top way.
But it was really interesting to see how, how design, I'm not a designer, so I have no idea, but it's really interesting to see how design is evolving. And the guy from Audi also was very, very clear about how they started with some scripts and then developed the design of the Citycarver and then to the final product, and which was absolutely related to what the guys from Squirrel told us about how they did their bootstrapping designing of these sneaker boxes. So that was quite interesting. Third one was about light.
It was about light, so there was a bunch of parkour guys.
I should say, let's say you there. It's German, very German.
Don't make me say
Vogelkaiser, which is an agency or an event agency. They're doing a lot of stuff with shows and parkour stuff and BMX and what was it? Football, fantasy? No, football.
Well, there was just a lot of athletes that are putting on different types of shows, and so lighting was very important to them because when these guys are doing, tricks on stage, they need to not be blinded by the light or to like lose their orientation with the ground, and so there was this relationship of lighting, which, if we're being honest, is always the most boring part out of any car explanation out there. It's so difficult to make it interesting for me.
If anyone from a car industry is listening, should there anyone be, please stop doing these light workshops, because you're not the only one who's doing it. And you're doing it every time you have a car. So now we know how light is working and LED, etc., etc. Please, just stop.
I mean, the only time that it was fine was when they do a pattern with the car. Yeah, so when we saw the iTrail, they showed a movie. I mean, we get too many of these light shows.
But it's like a bit of complaining. But it was well meant, and we talked about also the design of the light, which they put a lot of work in, especially for the Citycarver, which is a kind of impressive because it's like, it's the A1 and the Citycarver. If you look for the other way, you will explain it. Also, they put it a bit higher. It's now 5 centimeters higher, or something, 4 centimeters higher than the normal version. So it's a bit SUV-ish, but it's still a very expensive car. You won't imagine that they're going to sell a lot of them throughout
25,000.
Because it's like, if you get the version with the largest engine, it's like 25,000. Then you have the extras on it. So you can easily push it up to 30 over 30,000, which is a lot of money for a relatively small car. So you wouldn't imagine that they sell a lot. But so put a lot of effort in the design of the lights and the design how they are displaying the lights. It's quite interesting.
To be fair, this is probably one of the more interesting ways that someone has tried to make a lighting explanation interesting for us.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, A plus for this effort. But we're actually standing right now in Future Candy, which was the fourth one of the startups that we got to visit. And this was probably actually the most intense discussion that Don and I had today, because these guys are focusing on trends. Right? So they're trying to help companies identify trends and technologies and to understand and embrace them. So obviously Don and I had a lot to say about future trends of mobility.
Yes.
But we also learned a lot about what was happening inside of the A1 that's a little bit different with other cars. Like they're in Ingolstadt, they're doing a real-time traffic light. Right, so they're actually collaborating first one in Europe. So they're actually collaborating with the municipalities to understand when the traffic lights are changing. So this is also
it's not that the traffic lights are changing. It's like how you can get these kind of green wave. I think it's like you hit every traffic light that you hit is green. So what they do, and this is quite interesting, they have a contract with Ingolstadt. So the traffic light sends data to the back system, to the system of Ingolstadt, the IT system, and they have, of course, all the information when the following traffic light is going to be red or green. So they send this data to Audi, and Audi is then sending this data to the car. It sounds a bit complicated to do it like, why is not sending the traffic light directly to the car? But what you want to have is like you want to have this kind of green wave or this wave of green lights that you can pass through. And you can only do that if you know how these lights are connected to each other, and that only be known by the city, by Ingolstadt.
And it sounds like there would be a lot of latency because it has to bounce so many places, but they assured us that there was no latency issues, so I found that really interesting. And they're also Since here is their maps provider, they're also doing parking spaces. So you can figure out where there's parking on the road. I liked that quite a bit. And then also there's all of the regular sort of connected services that Audi is offering inside of their MMI. But these two were sort of the standard. Am I missing any? I think those were the big two for me.
That was the big two things. I mean, the other thing is that we talked about is that Alexa. They have now also Alexa in the car. You're not a fan of it?
Not a fan.
I mean, we have to say that Audi is doing it quite cleverly because it's not activated per se. So Alexa is not listening to everything you say, like at your home device where you can't switch it off, or you have the... I never saw or never had a look at these off switch for the microphone. It's really an off switch. It's just a button.
It's just a button, yeah.
But you can, Audi assured us you can switch it off. It's not activated at all. You have to activate it with a button, and then you can say, hey Alexa, and then do your stuff. It's connected, can connect it to your home with all the skills and everything. But I mean, Alexa and especially Amazon is building a kind of Amazon Echo car system. Well, actually, they do it.
They are, yeah.
They opened it last year, and it's open for startups, for example, for free. So you just can get in and develop some skills for Alexa. Of course, they have also, for example, a parking connection. So there is a startup from Vienna that gives them the information, the data for parking space. So they have a kind of system, developed kind of system where you can see there is an open parking spot, and you can get there in 2 minutes or so, and maybe it's still there. And so you can have so they're offering similar services that the car manufacturers are offering through their system. So and I agree, that's a bit of a risk.
So for me, my analogy is that I feel like they're letting a chicken into the hen house, that they're allowing a direct competitor into the car when they're at such a fragile moment right now with developing that relationship with the driver, with the passenger of the car. And if you start to shift services when you're just starting to offer them to Amazon, I feel like you're going to lose that relationship. And I don't want to see yet another space go to a de facto conglomerate. Amazon, Google, Apple, these ones.
but you can't, I mean, the thing is, people, if you buy a car and you have it on your phone, you have Alexa on your phone, now you can use your phone. You say, hey, make like there, make like that. So you expect that you have it in your car and you can use it, and why not? Why not say, okay, open the whatever window or turn the heating up or something like that. You can use it with your phone, of course, but it's also like, why not give the service in the car? And I can understand that the manufacturers are a bit under pressure to offer this kind of, or the Alexa service. And I think it's smart how Audi did it, because you have to activate it with a button, otherwise it's not activated, otherwise it doesn't listen.
That's true.
And but as I said in the discussion we had, I really want to see the contract between Amazon and the car manufacturer. I really want to see that.
Yes. I'm also incredibly curious what they're giving up to allow Alexa inside of your car. Yeah. But I get it. They want to offer the best experience to the consumer, and right now that is not their own services, unfortunately. So this is why Alexa's there, and this was sort of one of the more interesting discussions that we had here at Future Candy. Yeah, so I thought that this was a really cool day that they sort of organized for us, because the lighting show generally is my least favorite part of the entire car presentation, and at least this time they had some hot parkour guys giving it.
No, it was a very interesting day. It was a different way to show the car. Tomorrow we have the drive, so we do the driving of the car. It will be very interesting. Check it out, because we have the Audi with the new 3-cylinder engine, TSI engine, which is totally new, which is also coming up in the new Golf, so we can drive the new engine already in the A1. So check that out. We will make a video of that, of course, also. But I think it was a very good idea from Audi, just to put it in different locations and in contact with different startups, and make this connection between the automotive industry and the startup industry, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
me too. I thought it was a really good day. That's why we have 2 videos about the A1 Citycarver, this one, and then we're going to have the one we're shooting tomorrow. So be sure to check that in the link below. You're going to see that video there. So this has been Don Dahlman.
And Nicole Scott.
See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.